My name is Koon Ming Wong. Wong is the family name. I was born in 1955 in a small colony called Macau, which is near Hong Kong. Well, my name is Koon Ming Wong, and I want to introduce my name, not just by in words, but also by writing it out. Wong is the family name, or the last name, which means yellow. My full name is Koon Ming. Koon Ming is the first name. Chinese consists of characters. Each character have meaning by itself. Koon means champion, and Ming means brightness or clarity. So I hope that when my parents give me the name, maybe he has high hope for me to be champion or brightness, which I'm afraid that I haven't achieved that too much. Macau is a very small peninsula. At the time I was born, it was Portuguese colony, but now it has become the part of China, just like Hong Kong. It used to be a British colony, and now it's a part of China now. It's a beautiful place, very friendly. So I miss Macau very much. But I was born in Macau, and then in my teenage years, I actually was in Hong Kong. So it's between Macau and Hong Kong. So I guess I grew up in Hong Kong and later come to Canada. I stay in Hong Kong studying high school until I finished graduate high school. By that time I was about 17 years old. And the reason why I came to Canada was mainly for education. Hong Kong is a very small place and crowded. At that time, in the 1960s, I guess there would be a population of about 5 million people with only two universities. So the prospect of getting into a university is very limited and very competitive. So during that time, for some students, if they have some resources or connections to go overseas, they would typically go to North America or go to England, Britain, and other places. So at that time, my older brother have already immigrated to Canada. I think it's in the 1968 or something like that. And he sponsored me to come to Canada as an immigrant and to study for the prospect of studying university in Canada.
Before you left, were you excited to come?
Yes, it's a new place, but of course I feel sorry missing my friends, because at teenage years, friends are very important. But the prospect, I consider it was a privilege to go overseas. And at that time in the 70s, travel overseas is a really big thing, People line up in airport to welcome you, to say goodbye, farewell to you, It's not like now, you go to airport and and nobody cares. I was excited, yes.
Do you remember what you felt like when you were leaving the airport? Like, were there people there to say goodbye to you?
Yeah, there's a whole troop of people, family, and also friends. And I kind of feel sad because at that time, you don't travel by planes too often. It almost like a very like a very long goodbye. So nobody knows when I would come back, and so that was kind of sad, but is at the same time is quite exciting. I think that my first impression is my brother picked me up at the airport, drive to his house, and I see the house is so huge and so much green area, lawn, and to me it was like a mansion. Although I've seen pictures before, but seeing a house, like individual detached house, is almost undream of in Hong Kong. So that was my first impression, is the house is so nice. And then my first year in Canada, I studied grade 13 in Ontario High School in Scarborough. So the school was also quite big. Plus, I see all these Caucasian faces, the black faces, and like different skin colors, race, and which is something quite unusual from a person from Hong Kong, because it's predominantly Chinese. Yeah.
So could you tell us how you met your wife?
Yeah, glad to. I met my wife in high school in Hong Kong, so we know one another in Hong Kong. And after that, I studied in Canada University. And after that, partway during university, we decided it's too much to stay apart. So I went back to Hong Kong and decided we want to go forward with the relationship to become married. So when I came back to Canada, I went through immigration and applied and sponsored my wife to come to Canada to marry me at my last year of university.
Do you remember what her first impressions of Canada were?
I guess more or less how I have the first impression in Canada is it's a huge place, and I still remember at that time she was so excited about all this North American food, like French fries, Kentucky Fried Chickens. But then at that time when she came to Canada, she enjoyed this food for the first year. Pizza, French fries, fried chicken, but then now she hated all this food. So I guess the novelty just kind of wear off after the first year. Yeah. I guess at the last year of my high school, the obvious challenge would be the language, because my mother tongue is Chinese or Cantonese, with the dialect. And English, although I studied English in high school, still English is not my fluent language, so this is the first language challenge. But that is overcome quite quickly. Another challenge I have is in Hong Kong, our high school is very close-knit. We know one another. Like I even know my wife there. But then the high school in the Toronto area or Scarborough area is so big. The high school that I went to, I think at that time it's over 1,000 people, or close to 2,000, I think. And the students don't really know too much one another. And I feel kind of, this is kind of impersonal to me. And so I guess at that time I was lonely, quite lonely in my high school year. Plus I, like, new member and really don't know anybody. Eh?
So after only 1 year in the Canadian high school system, you went straight to the University of Toronto.
Yes.
To study civil engineering.
Yes.
What was that experience like?
Again, the impersonal, like if I talk about the high school being so huge, going to U of T is 10 times worse. So, but at that time in a university, it's the academic challenge. You have to study hard, and plus I met a lot of Chinese students too. So, in that sense, have a bit of community there. So for U of T, because I continue to live with my brother in Scarborough, and I commute every day, so I never really experienced any campus life. So I never stay in a residence. So that I kind of miss.
So how important was it for you to find a sense of community at that time?
I think it was quite important for me. So I hang around with a lot of Chinese students, and I joined the International Student Association. So in that sense, it gives me a bit of a sense of a community. Yes. After I graduate from university as a civil engineer, I work in